Can Bitcoin really hit $180,000 in 2025? It sounds almost unbelievable, but this is the number that's making headlines and sparking heated debates across the financial world. Bitcoin, the world's first and most famous cryptocurrency, has always been a magnet for bold predictions and wild speculation. But this time, the forecast comes from a name that's hard to ignore. That's the bold prediction from Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Kiyosaki has built a reputation for challenging conventional wisdom and encouraging people to think differently about money, assets, and the future of investing. His latest forecast has caught the attention of both seasoned investors and newcomers to the crypto space. Kiyosaki is known for his outspoken views on money and investing. He's never been afraid to go against the grain, often warning about the dangers of traditional financial systems and fiat currencies. Over the years, he's urged his followers to seek out alternative assets, like gold, silver, and more recently, Bitcoin. He's been talking about Bitcoin for years. In fact, Kiyosaki was one of the early mainstream voices to recognize Bitcoin's potential as a hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. As Bitcoin's price has soared and crashed, he's remained a vocal supporter, often reminding people that volatility is part of the journey. Now, he's doubling down on his belief that it's going way up. Kiyosaki points to a combination of factors: rising inflation, growing distrust in central banks, and increasing institutional interest in cryptocurrencies as reasons why Bitcoin could reach new heights. He argues that as more people look for safe havens outside the traditional financial system, Bitcoin's scarcity and decentralized nature make it an attractive option. Kiyosaki isn't alone in his optimism. Across the globe, a growing number of financial experts, analysts, and even some major institutions are starting to see Bitcoin as more than just a speculative asset. They're exploring its potential as a store of value, a hedge against inflation, and even a possible replacement for gold in some investment portfolios. Other experts see big things for Bitcoin too. Some point to the recent approval of Bitcoin ETFs, which have made it easier for everyday investors to get involved. Others highlight the growing adoption of blockchain technology by major companies and governments, which could drive demand for Bitcoin even higher. But is this just hype, or is there real potential for massive growth? Skeptics warn that Bitcoin's price is still highly volatile, and that regulatory crackdowns or technological setbacks could send it tumbling. Yet, the excitement around Bitcoin's future continues to build, with passionate arguments on both sides of the debate. Let's dive into Kiyosaki's reasoning and what's happening in the crypto market right now. We'll explore the factors driving these sky-high predictions, the risks involved, and what it could mean for investors if Bitcoin really does reach $180,000. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, the next few years could be some of the most exciting and unpredictable in Bitcoin's history. Robert Kiyosaki is most famous for his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book challenges traditional ideas about money and work. Kiyosaki believes in financial education and taking control of your own investments. He's been a vocal critic of the traditional financial system for years. He's warned about inflation, debt, and the dangers of relying on a single currency. Kiyosaki has always encouraged people to think differently about money. Bitcoin has been on a roller coaster ride lately, capturing the attention of investors, analysts, and even those who have never owned a single coin. The digital currency's price swings have been dramatic, with sharp rises and sudden drops that leave many wondering what's next. Every day, headlines seem to highlight a new record high or a steep plunge, making Bitcoin one of the most talked about assets in the financial world. Just recently, Bitcoin dipped below $80,000, sending shockwaves through the market and causing some panic among investors. Social media was flooded with worried posts, and trading platforms saw a surge in activity as people rushed to make decisions. For some, this drop was a sign to get out, while others saw it as a temporary setback in a much larger trend. But in true Bitcoin fashion, the price didn't stay down for long. It quickly rebounded, surging past $108,000 and surprising even seasoned traders. The rapid recovery reignited excitement, with many celebrating the comeback and speculating about how high Bitcoin could go in the near future. At this very moment, Bitcoin is sitting around $85,400. The price continues to fluctuate, sometimes changing by thousands of dollars in a single day. This constant movement keeps everyone on their toes, from casual investors to professional traders. Such volatility is nothing new for Bitcoin. If you look back at its history, you'll see a pattern of repeated spikes and drops, with each cycle bringing new challenges and opportunities. Over the years, Bitcoin has weathered countless storms, always managing to bounce back stronger than before. It's always been a bumpy ride, and that unpredictability is part of what makes Bitcoin so fascinating and risky. For some, the thrill of the unknown is what draws them in, while others are wary of the potential for sudden losses. But financial educator Robert Kiyosaki believes this is just a small taste of what's to come. He predicts that the wild swings we're seeing now are only the beginning, and that even greater volatility and opportunity lies ahead for those willing to take the risk. In fact, Kiyosaki sees the recent dips as prime buying opportunities. He encourages investors to look beyond the short-term chaos and focus on the long-term potential of Bitcoin, suggesting that those who stay calm during the turbulence may be rewarded in the future. Kiyosaki is, deeply concerned about the US dollar. He believes it's losing value because of inflation and government spending. Honestly, he's been warning about this for years, and he thinks the situation is just getting worse. He believes the Federal Reserve's policies are, making things even worse. In his view, they're creating a bubble that's eventually going to burst. And this is exactly why he's so bullish on Bitcoin. Robert Kiyosaki, the well-known author and financial educator, has been vocal about his belief in Bitcoin as a modern safe haven asset. In his view, Bitcoin isn't just a digital currency, it's a form of protection against economic uncertainty and the unpredictable storms that can hit global markets. He often compares Bitcoin to traditional stores of value, emphasizing its unique qualities in today's digital age. Just like gold and silver, which have been trusted for centuries as reliable stores of wealth, Kiyosaki sees Bitcoin as a way to safeguard your money from inflation and currency devaluation. He points out that these three assets share a common trait. They are not directly tied to any government or central bank, making them more resilient during times of crisis. He believes that when the value of the US dollar drops, assets like gold, silver, and Bitcoin will not only hold their value, but could even increase in worth. This is especially important as concerns about inflation and economic instability continue to grow. For years, Kiyosaki has been urging his followers to diversify their investments by adding Bitcoin, gold, and silver to their portfolios. He stresses that relying solely on traditional investments like stocks or cash can leave people vulnerable when markets turn volatile. According to him, building a small reserve of these alternative assets can provide a crucial safety net. Even a modest investment, he argues, could become incredibly valuable as economic conditions shift and traditional currencies face pressure. Kiyosaki's message is clear: you don't need to be wealthy to start protecting your future. By gradually accumulating gold, silver, or Bitcoin, anyone can take steps toward financial security, regardless of their starting point. In fact, he sees the current turbulent market conditions as a rare, perhaps once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build lasting wealth. For those willing to act, these safe haven assets could be the key to weathering the storm and coming out stronger on the other side. So, can Bitcoin really hit $180,000 in 2025? It's definitely possible. The crypto market is, full of surprises, but it's important to remember that investing is always risky. What do you think? Is Kiyosaki right? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research before making any investment decisions.